At 6 a.m. every morning, your alarm goes off. You open your eyes, look at the time, and immediately start negotiating with yourself. Just 5 more minutes. You hit snooze. The alarm goes off again. I'm tired. I'll get up in a minute. Snooze. And somehow, those 5 minutes become 20, maybe even 40. Now you're rushing. You skip breakfast. You can't find your keys. You're trying to get dressed while checking the time every 30 seconds. And before you've even left the house, you're already stressed. But here's the interesting part. The problem isn't really the 5 minutes. It's what you're teaching yourself every morning. Every time the alarm goes off, there's a small decision to make. Do I do what I said I was going to do, or do I choose what feels easier right now? And choosing the easier option feels completely harmless. It's only 5 minutes. Nobody is going to know. Nothing important is going to happen. So you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and eventually, you don't even think about it anymore. It just becomes part of your routine. And I think that's where the real cost is, because you're not just losing 5 minutes of sleep. You're practicing the habit of postponing something uncomfortable the moment you don't feel like doing it. And that habit doesn't necessarily stay in bed. It follows you into the rest of your day. You tell yourself you'll start working in 10 minutes. You delay the email. You postpone the workout. You keep saying you'll deal with that responsibility later. And eventually, later becomes the way you handle everything you don't feel like doing. Now, I'm not saying waking up at 5 a.m. is going to magically change your life. It won't. And if you're genuinely exhausted because you're not getting enough sleep, the answer isn't to punish yourself by waking up earlier. But there's a difference between being genuinely tired and being awake, looking at the alarm, and deciding that you don't want to deal with the morning yet. That second one is worth paying attention to. Because sometimes the snooze button isn't really about sleep. It's about avoiding the discomfort of getting started. And that's something I think we all do in different ways. We wait until we feel motivated. We wait until the timing is perfect. We wait until the task feels easier. We keep giving ourselves 5 more minutes. The problem is that life doesn't usually become easier while you're waiting. The email is still there. The assignment is still there. The business idea is still waiting. The workout is still waiting. That difficult conversation is still waiting. And every time you postpone something, you get temporary relief. That's what makes procrastination so addictive. You don't postpone things because it feels bad. You postpone them because for a few minutes, it feels good. You don't have to deal with the thing. You get relief. But eventually, the thing comes back, and now you have less time to deal with it, so the stress becomes bigger. That's why I think getting up when your alarm goes off can be useful for reasons that have nothing to do with productivity. It's a very small opportunity to practice keeping a promise to yourself. You said you'd get up at 6, so you get up at 6. Not because 6 is some magical number, not because successful people never sleep in, but because you're teaching yourself that when you decide to do something, you don't always need to negotiate with yourself when the moment arrives, and that skill becomes useful everywhere. You decide to save money, and you don't spend it just because you suddenly want something. You decide to exercise, and you don't abandon it because you're not in the mood. You decide to work on something important, and you don't wait for motivation to appear first. Little by little, you become someone who trusts their own decisions. And honestly, I think that's worth more than 5 extra minutes. Because the goal isn't to become the person who never presses snooze. The goal is to stop automatically choosing comfort every time something feels slightly difficult. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off and your brain immediately says, just 5 more minutes, maybe pause for a second, because those 5 minutes probably aren't going to ruin your life, but the habit of always choosing them might quietly shape it.